3, 2, 1, here we go. Ideas are so important in chess. I'm going to show you 5 ideas from the black side from the Slav defense, so then you can play it with black. So first question must be, what is the Slav? d4, d5, c4, c6. Can you see 2 pawns in the center? Let's take it from the top. Both sides play their queen's pawn, d4, d5, and after c4, c6. So if they capture, we can always capture back. 5 ideas coming up. So the first idea is, if white cannot counter the center too early. What do I mean? Every key idea will be in the bottom. It will be a chapter, so then you can flick through it in your own time. Knight f3, knight f6, and after knight c3, e6, we are setting up a triangle in the pawn center. Bishop g5, that is one of the top ways to play because they pin the knight to the queen. What if we can kick them away with h6, and then knight d7. Why am I covering the setup? Because a student plays this from the black side, so this video is for that student to help them out. Knight d7. And then bishop e7, such a sensible way to play. If you remember one thing from this video, it is the 2 knights defend each other, the bishop is on e7, and then there's a triangle setup. Okay, idea number 1 coming up. Cannot counter in the center early. What do I mean? Bishop d3 played. Okay, now we can take. And after take, we can go b5. And then you can go a6. Idea number 2 and 3, we're going to see the pawns getting pushed coming up pretty soon. Remember, idea number 5, that's the best one at the end. Castle, castle. Okay, here's a cool trick, you could say. White can't actually play e4 here because there's a tactic using the diagonal. And we can play knight takes e4. Brilliant move because we are using the tactic here. If we take with the knight, then we can take the bishop on h4, and after take, we are up a pawn. Let's do a count. Black has how many pawns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and white has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So up a pawn. Let's go back a few moves. So brilliant tactic here. If we take with the bishop, then we can take on h6, on h4, and then white can take the bishop, the pawn on c6, and then we can go rook a7. So let's look at this position. Let's draw a few arrows. The green one, you see that bishop, it can always drop back. White's bishop is brilliant, the blue circle, so we can offer a trade with bishop b7, and you see the rook on a7 doing nothing at the moment, so it can come back in the game. Idea number 2 is white cannot counter the center too early. It's just a different counter. Here we go. So from the top again, repetition leads to acquisition. What do I mean? If we keep repeating opening variations from the top, you will remember. So it's the same opening moves. Knight c3, e6, and now you can kick the bishop away, or you can go bishop e7. Don't really mind. This is one thing you have to remember. 2 knights in the center, and then your triangle setup. Okay, castle, castle, and now we can take, and then we can strike in a different way. This was a key moment that my student showed me. Let's put it in the video now. Take, and now pawn to c5. b5 I showed you before. That's another way to break. You can actually go c5. It's not even that bad. Here, white can take, but what if white gets too much space in the center? That is a bad move. Now we can go knight b6. Remember this cool move, hitting both the bishop and the pawn. The bishop retreats, c4, you hit the bishop. So white has no time to take, and then we can take. So remember this journey. The knight goes to d7 to b6, and then it took the pawn. And here, white is a pawn down. Black is a pawn up. If we go back a few moves here, just want to show you best move here. White should take, and then we're okay. This position, totally fine for both sides. The queens, they might come off, but then, well, you just keep playing. That's one important moment in chess when you have the black pieces. First 10 moves to achieve equality. Make sure you don't lose in 10 moves. That's not a good thing. The queens are off, and then you can keep playing this kind of position. Next chapter. This is the Magnus Carlsen Knight Dance. The Magnus Carlsen Knight Jump. What a complete mess on the board. Let me take it from the top. Let me break it down. So we have the Slav again. And now, so same moves, guys. Same moves. And now here, what's the key difference? The queen comes to c2. Just want to show you this different line. Maybe they get the queen out, and can you see the green arrow? The bishop goes to d3 to hit h7. Knight d7, same thing. Alright, so in this kind of position, it makes less sense the bishop to move because, well, we can take, and then we can go c5 or b5. That's what we saw before. So maybe white mixes it up, and the cool thing is we can mix it up as well. So white takes in the center. There are the normal ways to take back. You take with the pawn, but I want to show you the knight because pieces can come off fast, and then I can show you the Magnus Carlsen Knight Dance, the knight jump. Really cool maneuver. Why is knight takes d5 good? Because you offer a trade. Just want to show you one cool trick. h4, do not take. Because then it's just so strong. White all of a sudden is threatening checkmate. Yeah, I think you have to block here, but then the rook is on such a strong square. The h file is open, so do not do that. If that happens, you can just go h6. It's the same thing. So I'm going to go back 2 moves here. It's almost like no difference. Bishop takes bishop, queen takes. This position completely fine for black. Now, white might take again in the center, and then you take back with this pawn. So remember this structure. There used to be a pyramid. There used to be a pyramid in the center, but now it is gone. This is very important in chess. Very important in the Slav. I want you to defend your center. Bishop d3. They hit the pawn, doesn't matter. Get the knight in the game. Why am I putting exclamation mark for this normal move? I just want you to remember it. Knight to f6. And now, take castle, go g6. Remember, this is about blunting your opponent's piece. g6, good move. And now here is Magnus Carlsen Knight Dance. Why do I call it this? Because when looking at Magnus's games, I believe this is the first time I ever saw it. This move is fine in this kind of position. You retreat the knight, and then the knight goes there. Look at the green arrow. That's the journey. Very important moment. It defends b7. You see this? Or defended. That's what I mentioned before. Good. Knight d2. They might offer a pawn break. By the way, that's a waste of time, okay? You just kick it away. Kick it away, and then the bishop comes to f5. Anyway, very important skill in chess is to trade the correct pieces. So let's go back 2 moves. Knight d6, knight d2, and now bishop f5. Bishop f5, take, and then we can pause here. So many arrows. Let me break it down. Okay, I think I've got all of them. Right, the red one, the knight can always go back to defend on b7. The queen can always come here to defend. Now, let me remove it. I can remember all of them. So that was the first one. You can actually get the knight in to start an attack. So that's one option. Now, if that attack is not possible, we can come back here. Keep this together. And then later, you might get a rook in the game. Rook here, and then it is in charge of the e file. Even swing here and then here. Not at the moment, there's a knight there, but those are the ideas. So green, blue, red, 3 different ideas. 4 different ideas, really. I should have made that yellow, that one. And black is totally fine. Idea number 4. Just 2 more ideas. Here we go. Expect your pawns to advance fast. Lots of arrows. Here we go. So from the top again. From the top and here, bishop to g5. We can kick the bishop away. The knight can go to d7. And then here, all the same moves. And now we can take. Then we go b5. And then a6. So you can remember this. It's like you get space. You waste your opponent's move. Hit the bishop. It goes back. And now you go a6. Okay, castle, castle. c5, I mean. Strike in the center. Why not? So remember this. So let's draw a few key arrows. Very healthy pawn structure. When I say healthy, I just mean everything defends everything. Central control, we can take, we can push, the bishop can come to b7, control, the rook can come to c8. Let me make that yellow. Oops, yellow here. There we go, those are the ideas. Now, white might be aggressive, they might attack our pawns. That's why I called idea number 4. If your pawns push too fast, it's okay, you can push as well. b4, hit the knight. Careful. Careful, careful, careful. Don't play that one, which looks really good. Healthy pawn structure, 3 in a row. But bishop e2, and now white might go b3 next, just to try and break the pawns. b4, we can just move the knight back to the starting square, which looks really funny, but then that pawn is so weak. This is a dreadful move. Never, ever, ever play that move, because now all our pawns are split. That pawn is going to get lost very soon. So important moments. Make sure you push the right pawn. That move looks good anyway. We hit the knight now. That knight might jump into the center. It's fine. White's position looks pretty good, but we have less space. It's okay. We trade in the center. Let's take on d4. And then our pawns are still advanced. Normal position. We're going to castle very soon. They might take with check. It's fine. That's a little bit annoying. They might hit queen and bishop, so we go bishop b7. Here we go. Let's consider the arrows. Have I got it all? I think so. Yes. Okay, right. Bishop is fantastic, controlling all those squares. Dark square control. Make sure you keep that pawn here, because it stops any piece coming in. We're going to castle very soon. our knight might go to d5. Don't push e5, okay, or else the knight comes into f5. So those are the key ideas. Next chapter. One more? Yes. This was the best idea I found, I think. Yeah, it's called idea number 5, and it's the best setup with a new idea, the queen b8. Let me show you now. So from the top, why do I call this the best setup? Because here we're not going to go bishop g5. White is going to play a slow Slav, defend the center straight away with e3. You might think, well, that's actually a worse move. Well, the bishop is actually coming out to b2 later. So normal moves like we've seen before. Remember this from this video. 2 knights here, bishop here, pawn in the center. A very healthy way to play. Now, in this position, white plays b3. So if you're playing a top player, I think they will know this setup, and then it's such a slow way to build, get a good position. b3. e4, can you see that pawn break is coming soon? b6. Don't do this, okay? I'm going to show you what to do, but also what not to do. Now is the worst time to take, because they don't take with the bishop anymore, they take with the pawn. And then they get a big pawn center. If you go here, that is already too dangerous. I do not like this position. 2 pawns can actually storm you in the center, so do not play this. So let's go back a few moves here. So really, when they defend, you can't take anymore. That's okay. Our bishop will come out to b7, which is really where the bishop goes anyway. I mean, we can't go here because they've got free on it. So if we go b6 first and then bishop b7, now we get this position, queen e2. Every single piece is in the game, queens are left, then the rooks. Now, cool idea. If we put the queen on c7, which I thought was a good move, now rook c1's a bit annoying. And if we are not paying attention, if I just play a normal move like rook d8, then already we are in big trouble. Now, in this moment, you might be thinking William's being a bit silly. He can take that way, but now the knight actually comes in. So I was trying to make this work. It doesn't work. That's part of setting up an opening video. The pawn structure, I don't love it really. Our bishop's a bit stuck, so I cannot recommend this to my student and to anyone watching, to everyone watching as well. Here, queen b8, that's the cool move. Why am I putting this idea? Because my students showed me the really cool pawn break coming up. e4. If you look at white's position, it looks brilliant. How is black going to do well in this position? You must take. If you don't take e5, we are lost. You have to get rid of the difficult central pawn. And after take, this is the cool idea. There were certain moments where I thought it was not possible to get in this pawn break. Brilliant move, c5. And can you see, if there was a rook there, then there's no tactic. There is actually another really key point. Now they take in the center, because if don't take, we take. So they might take, and now we take. What's the point of this in this position? Overall, one problem with the Slav is we've got less space. One good thing is we've got pawn breaks. b5, c5. We free our position, and then we try to beat our opponent later. D takes c5. Now knight takes e4. Can you imagine if the black queen was there? Then c takes, pawn takes pawn will hit the black queen. That's why you have to put it on b8. That is a tiny, tiny difference. I was just trying to make it work, and it does work. So take on e4, and then take, and then we are totally fine. The bishops might come up, but then we take with the queen. And if white keeps the bishops, it looks very, very, very scary. We have a cool move here. The queen now comes in the game. Now we pause, and then we look at the arrow. So green, blue, red, yellow. Ideas 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So the queen and the bishop attack the knight on f3. You see white's bishop very strong, so it can go to f6 to offer a trade. And the yellow arrow, we can put a rook in the center, looking good. Knight e5 is probably the best move, and then here bishop f6 or rook d8, I don't really mind. And then we're coming up here, bishop f6. The queen is safe. It can go to h4, h6. The queen looks okay on that square. Yes, looking good. So those are the big ideas in the Slav. Let me know in the comments below. I've shared with you today 5 ideas. Which chapter was your favorite? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much. Here we go with the outro, top left corner. Master the best chess opening, your guide, Kaslan opening. Top video on my channel. I always love recommending it. I think it's a high quality video. And in bottom left corner, it will be YouTube's choice.